We've all been preparing for a new Earth. That's what this whole thing has been for. That's what that's what the awakening is. It's awakening to a different realm. And of course, depending on what you feel internally is correct. To me, New Earth isn't located somewhere else. It's just it's here. New Earth isn't somewhere else, and it's composed and comprised of our energy. And depending on how adventurous you are or how energetic you are is what's determining the sort of rate with which it unfolds. I have always been erring on the side of patience and not. I view it as it's a work of art. So what we're doing here is artistic and involves playing the subtle energies, and it's also timeless. So in essence, patience is a necessary ingredient, because being impatient means what? It means that you're still looking at the clock. And that's the old paradigm, or that's the old realm, or that's the old Earth. That's the old mindset. So yes, our belief in what we are here, what we're doing here, and manifesting those, that is the sort of mechanism through which it happens. But at the same time, and this goes back to what Og's discussing, it's even more important that we have safeguards and checks and balances internally, because not only is there the possibility of mental fractures if you're trying to so-called ascend too quickly, because it's too much information for your mind to handle, or too many possibilities or something like that. It's not only that, but the checks and balances are also there, so we don't have despotism or dictatorships arising. You don't have, you have to remember that every teeny tiny feeling, if you haven't gotten a wrap on your feelings, if you haven't gotten a handle on what they are exactly, the feelings are what is creating here. So if you are still vulnerable to feelings of pride and arrogance, well, guess what? That vulnerability is what creates dictators. It creates dictators. And when Og talks about the resets, that's what he's talking about. As far as I'm concerned, it's as people remember what they are exactly as creators, they fall prey to this stuff, to the feelings of the grandiosity, and it is not a small matter. Like, if you hear the voice inside of yourself saying, oh, well, that's not, I don't need to take it quite so seriously in terms of thinking of those feelings of power. Those voices are the beginning. Like, that's the beginning. If you allow those ones, that's the beginning to the slippery slope, and then an infinity down the road, in your timelessness, you are a dictator that's scared of all of his proletariat, or his proles, or his populace, his kingdom. He's scared of his own kingdom. Now, you wouldn't want to be in that position as the dictator or as the ruled. Not that that's not an experience. It is an experience, and we've had it, and it helps inform the overall. It helps inform the whole, because the whole is always the recorded experiences are always recorded, so the whole can be WHOLE, not HOLE, can be informed as to the overall balance structure of the players that are bouncing off of each other. So to go into the new earth, to go into ascension, and again, of course, like always, I'm not a fan of any of these terms. I don't like them. Okay, I don't dislike them that much, but I'm not a huge fan of the new age terminology, because we don't need that. Those are shapers to how the thing comes about as it's coming about. And this is just my particular taste. I don't like those very much. But yeah, so the new earth is, to me, just here, and it requires faith. The biblical thing, faith the size of a mustard seed, most of you don't have it, is what Jesus said. That's the faith that is needed to be able to create. Tiny bit, not a lot. You just have to know that what you're doing is what's happening, and as you're doing it, it's going to continue to happen, and that is right, that is correct. And it's not so much in terms of manifesting objects, like, I want this thing to appear, because these are called siddhis. I've talked about this before. Siddhis is powers. They are as tricks as if you're doing it as a trick. Like, look what I can do. I can manifest a pear here, and then I can manifest a knife above it, and then I can manifest the release of the invisible hold that's holding it up, and then I can chop the pear in half with that knife that I just manifested and released onto it. That is an example of what in Buddhism is called siddhis, which is incorrect use of power. That's arrogance power, that's pride power, and you're doing it to show off because you don't understand what you're playing with. Because you sit there and think, oh, I just manifested a pear and a knife and a thing and a thing. Okay, if you have not established a moral balance within yourself, and if you have not faced your fear nearly fully, if not completely fully, you need the checks and balances. You must have them. It can go bad, and that knowledge that it can go bad is held within us with all of these so-called resets, because it got reset because it went bad, because people couldn't handle their power, or else people couldn't handle the lack of support structure. Because when you think about what infinite power really means, and if you don't have infinite balance in there as well, it goes bad. And I'm not saying this to scare people off of New Earth or ascending dimensional levels in creative power. I'm saying this because I know myself. I know what it is. These are just my opinions on the thing. Yeah, New Earth.